Welcome to another story from the archives of Today River Valley, the video news feature program of Western Maine and the Androscoggin River Valley. I'm Phil Blampede. A few decades ago, there was a thought that television broadcasting could be brought down to the local level so that every city and town could have its own television channel, just as most cities and towns have their own newspapers. This idea was based on the thought that cable television broadcasting was going to become the dominant form of television throughout the country, and cable systems in cities and towns throughout the country could be required to provide local channels for the towns and cities that they served. But that's not what happened. Cable TV didn't become the dominant form of television broadcasting as satellite services and the internet began to compete with it. On top of that, the big cable companies began to adopt policies that were unfavorable to local community access television channels. Here's a story from Today River Valley last year which talks about the plight of these local community access television stations, of which there are over 6 dozen in Maine. First, a short message from a local business.
Coulthard's on the River Road in Mexico, Maine wants to remind you that gift-giving season isn't too far away, and it's never too early to plan for a really special gift such as a spa or a pool. Coulthard's now features the Strong Spa line, an American-made brand with a unique outer cover that gives the spa the ability to withstand wear, pressure, or damage and protects against cracking, fading, rotting, rusting, or tearing. Strong Spas is so confident in the durability of their spas that they offer a lifetime warranty. And in the meantime, if you already have a pool, remember that Coulthard's offers the full services you need to close your pool for the season. Coulthard's, 32 years in business on the River Road in Mexico, Maine. Call 364-POOL and visit the showroom soon.
Okay.
I don't have a list.
You said it's all in your head. Today I passed you.
Yes, that's excellent. What else?
We just set their garages on fire.
What I'm saying, what other people have said in this room, is that if you guys...
I'm not here.
Again? All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's a vote.
Over 40 years ago, the rapid growth of cable television looked as though it could bring television down to the community level. With all the channels on cable and the capacity to divide the service on a town-by-town basis, it looked as though local television channels could become as common as small-town newspapers. Starting with Federal Communication Commission decisions in the 1970s and then reinforced with federal laws passed in the 1980s and 90s, community television stations emerged throughout the country as federal and local governments required cable companies to make room for local public access television stations in their lineups. Maine itself wound up with 72 different stations. But with the emergence of competition like satellite television and the shift in public interest away from television and to the internet, local public access stations have struggled. Now, on top of that, the cable company is yanking the premium channel numbers away from the public access channels and exiling them to remote, high-number locations that didn't even used to exist. Can local public access television survive?
My name is Nora McCormick, and I'm the station manager for Sunday River TV, located in Newry, Maine. And we have been on Channel 7 on the Spectrum Time Warner Network for over 25 years. Until very recently, we got moved from Channel 7 to Channel 1301. And the biggest issue with that is that Spectrum gave us zero notice whatsoever.
Yes, this is so prevalent in the country that it's actually been given a name. And it's called channel slamming, where they take a channel that's a local public education governmental channel and they slam it up into the higher numbers, essentially removing it from viewership, where it has been seen for 30 years. And they've done this in towns, specifically in Massachusetts, where their franchise agreement, that is the contract that the town has with the cable company, states that the local public access, educational access, or governmental access channel has to be on a certain number. They've disregarded that completely. It's too bad. We're going to move them anyway. So essentially in violation of the contract. But most towns do not have deep enough pockets to go after the cable operator in a court.
I'm Wayne Howe, station manager of Western Hills Access Television, located here in Bethel, Maine. The only notification I got was because I'm a Time Warner subscriber, and I got a paper in the mail explaining that the channels were changing. That's how I found out about it. Well, people were just getting used to us being on Channel 11, for one thing. They knew where we were. And now that we're on 1302, people have either emailed, they've asked me, said, where are you? Are you still on the air?
There are over a half dozen local public television channels in western Maine in the Spectrum cable system that have been slammed and moved to the 1300s. Western Hills Access Television in Bethel was moved from Channel 11 to 1302. Western Valley Access Channel in Mexico, Maine was moved from Channel 7 to 1301. Norway Paris Community Television was moved from Channel 11 to Channel 1302. Great Falls Television in Auburn had not one but 3 of its channels slammed. Channel 7 is now 1301, Channel 11 is now 1302, and Channel 22 is now 1303. And Sunday River TV was moved from Channel 7 to 1301, although there is a difference. Sunday River TV is a commercial station, not a nonprofit, but it was handled by the cable company as a public access channel.
We're a commercial station, and we have been for over 25 years, but somehow in their notes they believe that we are, in fact, a PEG channel. So right now we're having to go through Spectrum's leased access department to now find out how much it's going to cost us to stay on air. Our branding is based around Channel 7. The community knows us as being on Channel 7. And guests, visitors coming up to the mountain, they know that we're Channel 7, and we have been for decades. And this change, it has the potential to be catastrophic to our local businesses, because now we're so buried in the 1300s that people visiting can't find us. They don't know that we're there. There is no signage on Spectrum saying that our channel has relocated. People that are changing the channels between CBS and NBC, we were placed right in between those 2 channels. So there was a lot of eyes on Channel 7. It was easy to find. And now that we're in the 1300s, nobody knows to go, oh, let me hit 4 buttons on my remote now. A lot of people don't even realize that their TV is capable of going to a 4-digit number. So for us to go from the single digits to 1301, it's it clashes with our branding. It clashes with what the community already knows and what visitors and the community alike can expect.
I'm Tom Handel. I'm the executive director of the Portland Media Center here in Portland, and we operate the public access channel for the city of Portland, as well as a regional station that was set up by local nonprofits to operate for nonprofits. This will definitely cause a fall off of viewership, because most of the people that tune in to the cable channel to watch our programs are older people who aren't used to dialing into something else. They're not used to it. Younger viewers might catch a lot of our programs on the internet, but in order for people to even discover us in the first place, even to know that we're there, it's really important to have us among the network affiliate channels at the lower end, because otherwise they won't even know that we exist. You know, and we don't have the capacity, like those other stations would, to have market and say, this is where we are, this is who we are. You know, so I hear Tony really loud and clear that this is a kind of discriminatory, because we don't, you know, we are a public station. We're not highly funded. We're not affiliated with a corporate money that can say, okay, this is where we are, this is what you have to do, and send out all that information to people. Of course, people are going to not only be harder to find watching us that already watch us, but we're not even going to be able to have people discover us as they do now.
And we're hoping that Spectrum is willing to work with us and cooperate with us and come to some type of agreement that can work for everybody here. Otherwise, it has the potential to be catastrophic to Sunday River TV and have negative impacts on the businesses that do advertise with us and have negative impacts on the community as a whole.
The value of public access is the same value as democracy. People watch the station, they get their the city council meetings, the planning board meetings, the school board meetings on there. They can participate in government. They can be an active citizen in this democracy. That doesn't seem to be so important to people who are in the business, who own businesses and want to make money on cable, but it's important to everybody. That's why the public access stations were created in the first place, was to give a voice to the people, which was supposed to be what a democracy was all about. So the relevance of the public access station is the relevance of democracy.
I think it's going to be difficult for us to get people to realize that we are still on the air and to go to 1302.
For us to lose our presence on such a prominent and well-established channel, it's been devastating.
There are conflicting explanations as to why the big cable companies in Maine and elsewhere are trying to bury the public access channels in hard-to-find high numbers. Charter Communications declined a request for an interview, but sent the following written statement as the only explanation.
PEG access channels are part of the franchise agreements with the communities we serve. Grouping channels together, in this case PEG, in the 1300s, is about providing consistency for customers and making it easier for viewers to find the programming they want. Our customers tell us that they like the consistency of channel grouping. It also reflects the reality of how people are finding and watching content. Consumers have many options for programming, and we're committed to making it easier for our customers to find and watch the content they want across multiple platforms.
Charter spokespeople will have recently come out and said that they are doing this project called digital encryption. And their reasoning is by encrypting all their channels, it prevents theft of service. And part of that process, they claim, is to move these local channels, the public, educational, and governmental channels, up into the 1300 band. We don't exactly understand how that has to do with digital encryption, but they consider it to be part of that process. And we can see there's monetary reasons why they would want to do that, which we'll get into. But the problem is, a lot of folks who are used to watching those channels won't know where to find them now.
From what I've been able to gather, Spectrum is doing a nationwide restructuring of their channel placements. They're hoping to have all of the sports channels on one section, all of the cooking channels on another station, another section, and they're also hoping to lump all of the public access channels nationwide in the 1300s. At least that's the information that I've been able to gather from them. So it's unfortunately they haven't thought about the local impact that this will have on these smaller stations and these businesses in these communities.
I do kind of wonder why Spectrum would move us sort of out of the realm of the regular channels, because if I was trying to sell someone cable over Dish, I don't believe Dish has any local access channels capabilities, and we do. So why wouldn't they want people to know that if you become part of Spectrum and start viewing that, you get a public access channel for the local school events, meetings, concerts, whatever that you're not going to get on the competitor.
And you would think that this is one card that the cable companies could play that they have that satellite doesn't. They could say, look, you get your local meetings, your school, your public access, and you don't get that on satellite dishes. Most people don't know that when they go buy a dish, by the way. But they never use that card, and I used to wonder why, but now it's abundantly clear to me that it costs them money to support these public access channels in the form of franchise fees and capital grants. So they'd rather marginalize us and put us out of business, quite frankly, than support us.
The Community Television Association of Maine, which represents the 72 public access channels, is responding to the situation by appealing both to state and local governments in Maine. Former CTAM President Tony Vigue, a leader in the effort, explains.
What CTAM is doing in regards to this issue is to propose some legislation. California and Illinois already have legislation that prevents this from happening, this channel slamming, moving the channels arbitrarily up to a higher number so that the cable company can lease them to the highest bidder. And so we're looking at legislation that would prevent this. Charter has already started doing it in various places in the state. So we're not sure how successful we're going to be, but we're going to make an attempt at it for sure in the next session of the legislature. And I would urge any other town managers to also write a letter of protest to Charter if they feel that this is going to be a detriment to the folks in their community to be able to watch their municipal meetings or to have the public be involved in accessing the media.